Hello Magic fans, I'm Beef and welcome back to another standard gameplay video, and today we are going back to the graveyard in a deck revolving around Kavaero, Mind-Bitten. So who's Kavaero? Kavaero is a 4-mana 4/4 and it says when you may have Kavaero enter as a copy of any creature in a graveyard, so it could be your opponent's, except his name is Kavaero Mind-Bitten, and he's a 4/4 spider human hero in addition to his other types. When you do, exile that card. So you might be thinking, why not just play Zombify or Valgavoth's Faithful, or one of the other many. We played Varalax the Haven skin last week, which did something similar. But what's interesting, what good about Kavaero is because he enters as a copy, you can get cast triggers. So there are a couple of cards in standard, primarily Bringer of the Last Gift, that says when it enters, if you cast it. The other one is Myojin of Night's Reach, we'll get to in a second. So if you cast a Kavaero and target your Bringer of the Last Gift, it'll come in as a 4/4 copy of Bringer, but because you've cast Kavaero, you will get that enter and cast trigger. So what is it? So when this creature enters, if you cast it, each player sacks all other creatures they control, then each player returns all creature cards from the graveyard that weren't put there this way to the battlefield. So this is a creature version of a very, very powerful and old Magic card called Living End, which is worded slightly differently, I think. I think Living End says exile all creature cards from all graveyards, sack all creatures, and then you put into play, or each player puts into play all creatures exiled this way. So ideally, we have a big graveyard full of big beasties, and our opponent has a big board but not much in their graveyard. We get Bringer of the Last Gift into the graveyard, we Kavaero it out, we sack our board, our opponent's board, and we get back everything in our graveyard. The other one, we only have one copy of those, is Myojin of the Night's Reach. Again, a card originally from original Kamigawa, so over 20 years ago. There's a whole cycle of Myojin, but for some reason they only released the black one in Foundations. It's an 8-mana 5/2. Those stats are terrible. And he enters with a divinity counter on it if you cast it from your hand. So again, with Kavaero, he'll enter a divinity counter. And it has indestructible as long as it has a divinity counter on it. But also, we can remove the divinity counter from Myojin of Night's Reach, and each opponent discards their hand. So, if we can get this down on turn 4 with Kavaero, and our opponent has a full hand or almost full hand, we remove the divinity counter, our opponent discards their entire hand, and it's pretty much game over. Other things that we want to get in the graveyard and potentially reanimate are 2 copies of Arden, because that is animation as well. 1 copy of Valgavoth, because it's Valgavoth, and 1 copy of Niche Pinnacle Prior. This is Dr. Octopus in the paper set. A 7-mana 4/8. Other villains we control get +2/+2. Niche is the only villain we have in the deck. But our maximum hand size is 8. Beginning of our end step, if we have fewer than 8 cards in hand, we draw cards equal to the difference. So this just lets us obviously draw quite a few cards. Usually at least 3, sometimes a lot more, because by the time we play it, we're going to have a lot smaller hand. And the idea is we get loads of these down and we bring over the Last Gift, get everything back. What is good about this is Arden obviously gives all demons Menace, Lifelink and Haste. Valgavoth's a demon, or it has Lifelink and Flying, but give it Haste pretty good. And Bring of the Last Gift's a demon. So if we have an Arden in our graveyard and all of these, and we bring them back, all these Bringers and all Valgavoths are going to have Haste, which is really powerful. Next up, we have ways to get cards into the graveyard, and our primarily Overlord of the Battlemerc. We can pend it for 2. When it enters our attacks, we mill 4 cards. Then we may return a non-avatar creature or a planeswalker card from a graveyard to a hand. That is not milled that way. So if we get a Kavaero into the graveyard some other way and can't get it back, Overlord can get it back. Whereas Dredger's Insight is when it enters, we mill 4 when I put an artifact, creature, or land from among the mill cards into our hand. So only the cards we milled, and whenever 1 or more artifacts or creatures leave our graveyard, we gain a life. Cash Grab, very similar, but it's an instant. We mill 4 when we put a permanent card from among the cards milled this way into our hand. And if it's a control a squirrel or return a squirrel, we create a food, we have no squirrels. And next up, we have removal, but also Dublin's ways to get cards out of our hand, because one of the worst things is we draw all of these and it's always sort of, we have a couple of these into our hand. So Knife Trick, also for the Omenpaths, 1 mana, additional cost to cast a spell, discard a card or pay 2, deals 3 damage to target creature. Bit of Triumph, we all know and love, 2 mana instant, either discard or pay 3 life, destroy target creature or planeswalker. And then Romantic Rendezvous, 2 mana, discard a card, then draw 2 cards. We are in 4 colours. You can get rid of Romantic Rendezvous and put in something like Town Greeter. I didn't want to put in Town Greeter because he only lets you get a land back. But in hindsight, it's probably better than Romantic Rendezvous because you have to worry about red mana. But a mana base isn't bad. We do have, obviously, a mix, but we only have one blue card we're really going to cast and one red card. You can use red for Knife Trick, but you can also pay black. So primarily black and green. So we do have two of the Surveil lands in black-red, two of the Blazemire Verges, even though they tap for black by themselves, which unfortunately Wastewood Verge and Gloomlake Verge don't. They tap for green and blue respectively, so that's a bit annoying. But Multiversal Passage can be, it can come down as a basic land type of our choice, so it can help turn on the Verges and it can use to fix our mana. And same as Starting Town, pay 1 life to add 1 mana of any colour, but obviously it only enters untapped on our first, second, or third turn of a game. It's pretty powerful. Obviously, it does majorly suffer to graveyard hate. So if your opponent plays out an Agatha Soul Cauldron or Ghost Vacuum, you're probably screwed. But it's really fun just flooding the board with a huge pile of creatures. And in one game, I did manage to get 4 Bringer the Last Gifts into the graveyard and an Arden. Kavaero, bring 1 back. It was a 4/4. And then the other 3 an Arden and smashed in for, what was that, 22 with life gain as well. So a pretty fun deck when it goes off. Again, you could probably check out Myojin. It's not really relevant, but it's fun to see the other synergy. I think the only other card in Standard at the moment that has a, when it enters, if you cast a trigger, like Bring of the Last Gift. So a really fun deck. It's being played quite a lot at the moment. Hope you enjoy it. If you do, please remember to like and subscribe. I'll give a shout out to my patrons, Michal, Arcadius, Thomas, and Adrian. Thank you very much for your support. Thank you everyone else for your support. And I'll see you all in the gameplay. Wow, this is an expensive hand. If we can find ways to mill them or discard them. You don't need more lands for now. There's another Hard Claw. Are they on Ohiraxa now? Well, there's an Arden. I think we get back a Dredger's Insight. We can Kavaero, turn that into an Arden, get back Niche. And hopefully they don't have the turn for Ohiraxa now. Because then we're just dead, even with the life gain. I'd be surprised if they don't have it though. Let's play this on black. We're up to 14. Still no way to discard. Do they have it? So they've not immediately slammed it, suggests no. Oh, there's a Screaming Nemesis. That's frustrating. But that's a good draw. We will discard a Valgavoth. Are they gonna Manifest Dread? At least they didn't burn it. There's another Valgaroth. We'll bring back land. And we'll bring back a Valgaroth. Swing in. Yeah, if they had a burn spell, they should have burnt their own Screaming Nemesis so we couldn't gain life. But it seems we've scared them off with our big power. Yeah. Pathetic. There we go. At least they ended up conceding. We go first with wow. Well, at least we have ways to discard Myojin. This will be on Swamp or Black, and you can attack for now. We will impend. We will get back Kavaero. Roots. We will get back an Undercity Sewers. Don't need more Nitrix. We do need more lands though. We do have a bringer down there. Wow, they are seriously dredging. Well, it's going to be a reasonably small one, but it does wipe their board. Unless we wait a turn. If they have a discard effect, I would not be happy. I was hoping they'd play out a bit more. But they, yeah, they do have an Isid Explorer in the graveyard. Well, we Kavaero, we get back a bringer. We draw 6. And we can, we probably Kavaero again and get Arden back. Shame we don't have a way to... Shame we don't have a way to get a Valgov off in our graveyard. We have 6, so let's cash grab. And get nothing. We will get a Scouring Storm Soul from them. Fair enough, that was a bit of a whiff. We don't mind taking 9. Or we just chomp with the Myojin. They essentially have to kill us this turn. Which they might be able to do. I hate playing against this deck. It takes ages as well. Yeah, they've got pretty wide stuff. You. 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 I think they have something. That's why I've not blocked with Arden Kavaero. Okay, we were dead anyway. Our opponent goes first. We need black mana. Which we can hopefully find. Well, we can now black mana starting down. let's just cash grab. And we will get back you. Next turn we can overlord. So ideally, we don't want to wipe the board because we don't want stuff in their graveyard for bring with the last gift, which we have just drawn. Nuts. We only have one black mana. That's annoying, but never mind. So they will get a twitching doll back. And there's another Kavaero. Well, let's be greedy. That wasn't very helpful. Are you just going searching? Yeah. For your Cosmic Spider. Or Scion of the... Oh no, Gloria. Well, we get back, bring up. At least Valgavoth has lifelink. Unfortunately, Fate Weaver has Death Touch. Are you going hunting again? They are going all out for spiders. I hate to break it to you. You got to sacrifice 3 non-land permanents. You only have 3 non-land permanents. That's irritating. Let's ditch Myojin. Oh no, that costs life. We don't want to do that. We'll hold back for now. If they have another Shadow by Ghost, they can take out Valgavoth. But they don't. Could get back one of their creatures with Kavaero. take out their Fate Weaver. Are you going to sack it? If you do, we get it. I mean, we get it anyway. Yeah. We hit in for 13, gain 9. We can play a Demi and the Fate Weaver as well. So, yeah, Valgavoth is very hard to beat. Well, that was just ridiculous. Two swamps, what have I got? I have that. And that does impend. We'll get back a Kavaero. There's a Budwitch. Problem is, Umbral Crawler Zealot means they can sack everything before our Bringer of a Last Gift takes effect. We've got an Arden down there, but no actual other creatures. So, you know, that's good. Well, I think we just go a double cash grab in. That's odd. That's better. That's why they did it. Well, we Kavaero for a bringer. Now, if they're smart, they sack. That's why the stick's there. Should have played a land out. That's a Vow land. Is that Immerstern Predator? Wow. We've got a handful of lands. Lucky us. And because we've got a handful of lands, we're only going to draw 3 cards off an each. The stick is your Immerstern Predator. I assume. And luckily, these demons have Menace. So we're going to gain 10. Come on. Unless this is... And hopefully we find some other good stuff. Common opponent. They both have Menace and Lifelink. Well done, you made the choice of you couldn't block anyway. Well, at least we could sack a bringer, discard a bringer. And get it back with Arden. Is that what you want to do? We gain a life. Look at us go. Can't imagine what they would have to stop. So we'll block the Umbral Collar Zealot. I like how they've not gone, they're just being very, very slow. Because this holds up priority all the time. There should be like a priority emote. Or, players should pay attention. I know that's a revolutionary idea. There we go. That was tough. Yeah, you'll go there. We're down to 11. We're down to 10. We're down to 9. Wow, what's with all this land? We'll discard guard, take out you. I don't think they can burn us out. No, they can't.